I would like to introduce you to a little girl named Ginette who grew up unwanted, unloved, mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually abused, raised in a very dysfunctional, alcoholic, drug-filled background, felt no emotions other than anger and frustration, but most of all, had no voice and seemed invisible to all. My toughest pain was rejection, and that started right from the word go because my mom wanted a boy. I didn't do drugs or alcohol, but I became a very angry, defensive person. When I got older, I vowed I would never allow anybody to ever hurt me again. When I became a Christian 28 years ago, I truly wanted to become a follower of Christ and to serve Him wholeheartedly. No matter how hard I tried, for some reason, I just couldn't find a mental peace in any church that I attended. I literally begged for help. I received many negative responses, and in the end, I felt it was all my fault that I wasn't getting well. I was definitely losing hope, and I started losing faith in pastors, my church family, and the want or need to attend church ever again. In September 2023, I went to see a new doctor to get a second opinion as to what was wrong with me. The pain was so excruciating all over me, inside and out, including my brain. Something must be wrong medically to feel this bad. When I went to see her with a follow-up, she said there was nothing physically wrong with me, that it was all psychological. My mouth dropped. She offered 0% help when I was definitely showing symptoms of very deep depression to the point of possible danger to myself. To me, she had given me a death sentence. When I got to my car, I looked straight up and said to God, I can't live like this anymore. I am done. Visualize 100 lambs that are grazing and suddenly one of them has gone astray. The one lamb was me. Would anyone even notice if I was gone? I believed I would never find the light at the end of the tunnel, surrounded by the insane mental madness, sucking the life right out of me. In the following week, some extraordinary things began to happen. I saw a poster for a conference at the Prairie Bible College based on mental health and discipleship together. I was in awe seeing those two topics in the same sentence together, and I registered. Our first speaker, Pastor Ken Dyke, kept me on the edge of my seat because of his compassion and deep interest in helping others with mental health issues. What won me over was the fact that it included discipleship as well, and that we need to work on the two together to live a healthy Christian life. Finally, someone was talking my language. A conference volunteer shared my story with Ken, and without me knowing, he did some research and told me that Freedom Session was starting at home church in Red Deer 3 days later. I was terrified because it was happening so quickly, but I took a leap of faith and registered for the course and got accepted. I found out near the end of the course that I missed the deadline to register. Even though the groups were selected, my registration made the accepted pile, and I was included into the program. When I heard that, it made me realize that God had heard my cry, leaving the doctor's office that day, and Jesus went out and found that lost lamb, me, and carried me on his shoulders to this group of people taking this session and said, my lost child, this is where you need to be to find the freedom that you seek. That is when, for the first time, I truly believed that Jesus loved me. Every week, Ken's videos have felt like a fire hose was turned on us. Many times I wanted to walk out and quit. The first time was during session 4, stepping out of insanity. We were asked to go back when we were a child and remember how we felt, such and such. I wrote in my book, I am pissed off because I can't understand what they want from me. I don't understand feelings. I got up and walked out of the class, and for some reason, God only knows, I didn't leave. At the end of the class, I had a conversation with Pastor Melanie about my struggles and emotions, and that I feared I would not survive the course because of this issue. I went home and took the list of 100 emotions in my workbook, and I looked up each one, writing a definition and example for every single one. The extracurriculum created a miracle. As I was driving to the session next week, I realized that my mind was quiet. There was no more turmoil or confusion going on inside. I suddenly felt at peace for the first time in my life. When I walked into the class, I walked up to Pastor Melanie and told her what I had done with the words and how I was feeling, and she blurted out, "You have experienced freedom." As the weeks carried on, I noticed that I was able to speak freely without fearing being misunderstood or sounding stupid. I was using words that I had never used before, including big words, which I had been terrified of in the past. I was so excited, and my conclusion was, I finally found a voice. The list of emotions rescued me when I came to session 9, mirror inventory, to define the cause of my wounds and the immediate damage that people had done towards me. I would just go down that list of emotions and go, yep, I felt that. Without that list, I would not be standing here today graduating. The most rewarding part of this course was session 6, Hope and Where to Find It. We were asked to close our eyes and visualize Jesus standing with both arms extended with an egg in one hand and the sperm in the other, bringing them together to create me and gave me a breath. I saw myself as a baby in my mother's womb with a very bright light shining inside, and I seemed full of joy, and I smiled through this whole part of the session. I went home and I looked at the picture of my mom and said, "You may not have wanted me, but tonight I learned that God created me and I was loved and wanted from the word go." It means so much to me to finally be sane and have the availability to seek that intimate relationship with God that I have prayed for so long. Only God knows my future with Freedom Session. How can you not stay involved with something like this course that God can use to help free so many hurting people that are hoping, searching, like I was, for a miracle to experience freedom of mental health condition and finally experience God's unconditional love?